Now let's take a look at Radiologik Scheduler. Scheduler is the part of Radiologik that does all the scheduling and many other tasks. It comes in two versions, basic and advanced. When you launch it, when it isn't registered, you get to choose basic, which is free or included, or you can try advanced. If you choose advanced, you will need to interact with it daily to keep it going because it is a trial in that mode. So basic takes care of picking from playlists, assembling programs, either picking one at a time or filling, loading pre-created programs, or picking from an entire playlist. It also includes tasks like cron jobs, track prep, which sets up the tracks for normalization and good segues according to your preferences, and track properties backup, which is what track prep is adjusting, and your ramps and any other information you have in the tracks about their performance. Advanced adds automatic time announcements, date selecting from playlists in music or in Swinzian, where it will match different date formats in case you have a message of the day. It has intros, outros, and combos. Those all go together to introduce songs by either the artist and title, the artist, the genre, the year, and outros for those as well. It includes up next, so it can dynamically know what the next program is and play a sort of cross promo for the next program coming up for the program that you're in. It includes spots, which are traffic, usually for paid advertisers to have their own schedule for when their ads should play that integrates with your own programs. It includes podcasts, which it subscribes to podcasts and has selectors for which episodes should play. And it includes the twin command, which will do a twin spin type of thing where it picks two from the same artist with two different twin commands. It also includes, it includes traffic, as said here, the voice work, the podcasts, and it also includes the silent sensor. So you can monitor your station, make sure it's on the air, make sure it's broadcasting, and it can take actions on those things. So let's get into basic to start with. So Radiologik works in blocks of time. The default for those blocks of time are hour blocks of time, but you can choose whatever you like here from 30 minutes all the way up to 8 hours. Most of the time you want to keep it simple and keep it 60 minutes because those are easier to comprehend a script that is only for 1 hour. The reason you might want to do longer is if you happen to have a 5-hour file that you need to program and it's only going to fit in these larger blocks. But from that, you can set which hours any particular program is set for, which days of the week. You can limit to certain days of the week of a month. And you can do even and odd weeks of the year as well. You can have start times and stop times for the program in case it's seasonal, let's say. You only want it to run in July or December. And down here we have selectors for artist and composer separation that would be applied to tracks in the script that asks for that. Album separation. This is good for compilation albums where you don't want to choose from the same compilation album even though you have different artists. And then you have same title, different artist separation. That is good for Christmas music where you will have the same titles but different artists, so you don't want two jingle bells back to back. That sounds kind of stupid. So this will actually take care of those situations. For a lot of music, this is not needed. And it allows choosing different preference sets, so you can have it operate differently with different preferences at different times of the day for stations that have more complex, different day parts with them. And for all of the voice work that is done, you can choose which voice you'd like to use. Maybe a man or a woman at different times of the day. So you can switch those around for different programs at different times of the day. And you can choose which silent sensor profile it should use for any particular time of day. Maybe it shouldn't be on at all because Radiologik isn't scheduling anything for that particular time of the day and shouldn't be listening. And then programs can be sent directly to DJ, or they can be programmed to a file, either automatically or manually, or they can go to both. This is good for rerunning programs. In case you schedule something, but you want to rerun it at a different time of the day, you can have another program pick from the file that was put together here. And then it has commands for rotating through playlists. I'll show how to for all of this in subsequent videos. But rotated playlists I use for classical music, where I pre-assembled a bunch of playlists, 60-some playlists, and I really want them in the order they are in, and there's no other way to do it properly unless you manually order them. But I'd like to rotate through the playlists over the course of several weeks, and this allows you to do that. Let's take a look at a script. Here's a basic script. It has a fill command to the top of the hour, and it has selectors for random, unique tracks, making sure it doesn't duplicate any. It applies all the separations we did on the other tab, and it does hour avoidance so that tracks that played, let's say, Tuesday at 3 o'clock won't play again on Tuesday or any other day of the week at 3 p.m. It will try to avoid that. Otherwise, we're using a playlist that is a playlist in music, which we'll bring up here. And I believe it's right there. And this playlist is actually a playlist of the 150 least recently played tracks. So that's where rotation comes in. And then we have a simple pick of random unique of the station ID, playing some more music, filling to a particular area here, which is 15 to 18 minutes into the start of the program, because these programs are starting at the top of the hour. This would be, say, fill to between as many tracks as it takes to get to between 8:15 and 8:18 for this particular command here. And then do a jingle and then back and fill again with some music. So that's just a basic script there. So other things you get with basic are you can see the week view. I have the basic program for the first half of the day and the advanced for the later half. You can color your programs here as well. So just select your color here or choose from the color wheel. There is a log for scheduler. This rotates. There's a log for errors, and there's a browse all logs as well. But each program also has its own last log. So you can pick a certain program and quickly find what it last did the last time that particular program was programmed. Little area for notes here. And there are pre and post schedule tasks that you can do. These would be Apple scripts that you could run if you need to run a script before scheduling or a script after scheduling, if that is needed. Tasks is also a free thing, and basically this is just like a cron. You can choose to do something. I'll just pick that, for instance, and you can say, I want to do this, a start date, a stop date, which hours you'd like it to do it. You can add those to this and which days of the week. You can choose to run an Apple script, upload, download, run a shell command, and finish off with another Apple script here. It also has track prep, which looks at either selections in music or Swinsian or a playlist. And you can choose one of these built-in presets or create your own preset and analyze the music for normalization and how it should perform in Radiologik DJ for good segues. And then last of all, there's track properties and backup. And it just scheduled a segment going to DJ right now because we just scheduled 20 minutes ahead of time. So let's look at the preferences also. So our track source is music. That's where it's scheduling from. That's where it's doing its track properties. It is scheduling 20 minutes before the next program time. That's what it just did. And there are a bunch of other preferences here as well. I have selected my favorite audio editor here, which I'll show how that works in a little bit. And Radiologik Scheduler and DJ can babysit each other to make sure each one is running. Each one has a preference to make sure the other is running in case one has a problem and is not running. A few functions here in the file menu. You can back up your programs and traffic. We know they're important and you don't want to accidentally lose them for some reason. So you can select to manually back up here. We can go and take a look at the backups. We can see when they were last done. And it opens up a folder so you can go get these and return them. But also, you can restore all programs from a backup in case you need to do that. Or you can just restore the selected program from a backup. So this is in addition to any backups you should be doing already with Time Machine or ChronoSync or Carbon Copy Cloner, whatever your choice is for backups. But this makes sure that there is an extra layer of backups as well. Now let's take a look at Radiologik Scheduler Advanced features. When you're trying Advanced, you will have this dialog where you get to choose whether you want Advanced or Basic. If you choose Advanced, it will last for 1 day and you have to interact with this dialog again to keep Advanced working. But once purchased, it stays Advanced. So let's take a look at some of the features we get with this. Remember, we had the Basic script here with, which was only using commands. The first 4 commands here you get with Basic. And with Advanced, here's a more sophisticated program that is just demonstrating a lot of the different script commands that you get with it, which you can see in this list here. So going over this, we get the time announcements. We get the voice work intro, the voice work combo, which is an outro, a combo connector, and an intro. We get the podcast command, which picks from the podcast section. We get the spot, which picks from traffic for advertising to integrate a advertising schedule into the program schedule. We have one of the date commands here. There are quite a few date commands that you can choose from here. Such as date regardless of year, date for this year, and looking to days before and after, and even matching the day of the week or month. We have another intro, and then we have a twin command here. This is for when you want to play 2 titles from the same artist. It will pick those out, and we put a jingle in between. And then we have an up next command, which can announce what the next program is. So if this program is reused at different parts of the day and the program coming after it could be different, this will make sure to pick the right audio file to announce what the next program is. So those are the added commands that you get for the programs themselves. Podcasts is also an advanced feature. This can subscribe to podcasts, automatically download them as needed. In this case, we have it 5 minutes before scheduling, but you could have it do it more often. You can specify what exactly you want downloaded. This shows which episode is actually selected. And you can have track prep actually take some action on the podcast as well to prepare it for radio, like normalize it and trim it, whatever needs to be done. We'll look at the episodes here. The green one shows which one is actually selected. I think I can go in here and actually manually set this plays if you want to do that. And because I have it selecting first with plays less than 3, and I just set this one to 3, it will now need to download the next one it would need to play and select. So it's selected it here, and in a little bit it will actually start downloading. There it just downloaded, so now it's on to the next one. So when one of these podcasts actually plays in Radiologik DJ, they get marked played here with the last played date will be marked here as well. So that's podcasts. Then there's traffic. This is where you integrate advertising with your by its own schedule and integrate it with your program schedule. And in this case, I have just a simple example here. And because half of my day is only using basic commands, we're not putting it there. But there are spots available in the advanced part of the day where these can be placed. So I can turn all of these off. I can turn all of these on, or you can select exactly what programs you want it to actually be applied to. And then we can take a look at the pre-flight. This is if you want to give to the customer who's advertising, here's when your advertising will play. And once they do play, there's a flight report that will show you the exact time that their advertising actually played. And all of this is tracked here as well, and you can reset the statistics for this. This also includes categorization for your ads as well. So if you want certain spots to play at certain times or different programs, or you don't want to have two food ads next to each other or two auto ads next to each other, you can categorize your ads, and you can set exactly what you want the names of those categories to be, categorize them here, and then when you actually set up the podcast, when you go to set up the spot, you can choose what category you want it to prioritize. Next, let's take a look at silent sensor. So here I have a silent sensor profile. And what this does is it listens to the audio and looks for thresholds and times for what we consider to be off the air. So I'm going to turn this one on so it will be listening. I need to actually launch GQRX and start the audio for that. And now that that's running, it's actually listening to audio from an FM receiver right now, actually over SDR. And I can set what its threshold through. We can actually listen to this coming through. So this can take action if it's determined that your station is too quiet. And you can set your threshold here. It exactly corresponds with the level meter here. So in order to get this to actually do anything, we actually have to put our threshold quite high here. And this would be, right now we consider this to be too quiet. And so we have a time allowance for how long it's allowed to be that quiet before it executes an error apple script, which you can define exactly what that will do. So before that triggers, I'm going to pull it back down here to a normal level. And that is silent sensor. Now let's take a look at intros and outros here. What I'll do is I'll load a playlist of 700 tracks, and I'll choose the DJ voice folder that contains the intros I made here. And you'll see all of these that have intros are badged. The first column here is announcing the artist and title of the song, or whatever you want for the very specific song. If you just want to announce the artist, that's this column. If you want to announce the album, you have this column. If you want to announce the genre, year, or even grouping, you can make intros or outros for any of those. So I can take one to preview. All of these work with the ramp times in the preview. So let's pick one that's relatively short. Let's do a preview of this.
Here's Eris and Jess Morgan with What Do You Feel?
So that intro wasn't long enough to talk fully into the ramp. Let's see what this one is like.
Here's Alex Says with Free to Go.
So you get the idea of how that works. So you can preview these. You can set your ramps here as you're going through here. It's a great place to set your ramps. These can take up to 10 varieties for each that can be will be picked at random with the intro command. So you can have quite a bit of variety per song. And if you want to make a new one, you use these buttons over here to plus, which means add an intro or an outro. If you're working with outros, we can take a look at the outros. I only do a few outros for artists only here, as you can see. I'll go back to the intros, and we could record a new one by pressing that button, but it's going to open in your preferred audio editor, which will go in here to settings. You can set right here in the settings. I've chosen Amadeus Pro. So if I want to create a new, let's find one I want to do here. I haven't done that one yet. That's a good one to do. Or let's do a second one for Alpha 9 Bliss here. Here's Alpha 9 with Bliss. I'll normalize it, save it, quit, come back, and you can see it got badged with a number 2, and we now have 2 varieties of that artist and title. As you can see, we have one just for the artist here, and we have one just for the genre. You can go back and edit these at any time. Just choose the one you want to work with, hit the edit button, and it will open back up in your favorite audio editor, so you can refine it there. And you have the ability just to listen to the voiceover.
Here's Alpha 9 with Bliss.
Or the track itself with these buttons, these play buttons, or the mix all together. So, that turned out to be a long video, but that is an overview of most of what Radiologik Scheduler can do in both basic and advanced. In subsequent videos, we'll show more how-to